What's up, guys? Welcome to Jed Talks. I am so excited for today's episode with Paul DiGiovanni. And I'm hoping I'm saying your last name right, Paul. But I do love you, and I'm excited to have you here on the show. We're going to talk about some really cool things and possibly let you guys know some stuff that you wouldn't even believe is going to happen. But Boys Like Girls, to me, for me, was a huge, massive part of my life. Like, that genre of music back then for me, I feel it was everything. Like, me and my friends would listen to that, and it literally, made us want to start a band. Like, I can remember being on a bunk bed with some friends and some, just a blank white sheet of paper and us writing out band names. And to be honest, we had never jammed together. We've never written a song together. We hadn't done anything other than sit there and listen to Boys Like Girls and Fall Out Boy and stuff like that, and just try to come up with a band name that was that seemed like a good idea to us at the time. And we never landed on a band name, and we never started a band and had never had one practice, but it seemed like a good idea, and the inspiration was driven from Boys Like Girls and bands like them. So there's a lot of cool things that we're going to talk about in this episode, and I'm excited for you guys to see it. In other news, what's his name?
Right here. Boy David Spade.
You guys can see right here that David Spade is going to be the host of Bachelor in Paradise. This is probably going to be, unless he stays, the first time I've tuned in since my show episode aired. Why couldn't he been there when I was there? Are you serious? Jesus, David Spade, what an awesome dude, hilarious. That's gonna totally change the game. And
how do you think he'll be different than Chris?
For one, David Spade actually has a legit personality. That sounded so shady, but it is. I mean, Chris is on the clock to act like how he acts. When he comes off of the camera, he doesn't act how he acts on the camera. And I feel that David Spade, I have some friends that have met him out and about, and he sounds like the same person round and round. He's just a goofy dude. So
do you think they're going to be able to get David Spade to play their game? Because obviously there's a lot of Chris steers some things in the way that he questions and everything like that. That's his job. Do you think that they'll be able to get David Spade to do the same, or do you think he'll just be David Spade?
I feel that there's going to be moments where he's required to be serious, that he's going to turn it into his own thing. And I hope that they actually use those moments, because that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This is the first time I'm going to be excited for anything with the franchise, probably, because we all know how I feel. And so I applaud you, David Spade. Excited to see what you do on Paradise, and hopefully you find some love for those poor souls under those contracts. Anyways, thank you guys for being here. Excited for you to see this episode. Stay tuned.
We're on you.
We're on?
We're on you, brother. Keep rolling.
We're alive right now?
We're alive.
Sweet.
All the way alive.
Whoa.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Paul, the man, the myth, the legend.
In the flesh.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on to Jed Talks, and thank you guys for being here. Again, I'm excited for today's episode. Paul is a really cool dude. We met through a mutual friend playing kickball. Kickball brought a lot of us together, and
it's amazing that it really did.
It did. It really did. In peace and in war.
Right.
Yeah.
There were battles.
There was.
It got dark.
Yeah. You broke your finger, dude.
I broke my finger.
Was it actually broken?
I think it was called mallet finger, maybe, or something, where you the tendon snapped. So you remember this was stuck straight down.
Yeah.
So I had to keep this finger straight for, I think it was 8 weeks.
Jeez.
So I just
which finger?
The famous one, the birdie bird here. But I had to keep it straight.
This one.
Straight, yeah. For 8 weeks, which is a task. It's a real task.
Yeah, I bet.
So I would even have to. I had like a little brace that would keep just this knuckle straight. I could bend this one.
Right.
But I would basically shower and wash my finger, take the thing off, and have to hold it up while I washed it, let it dry, and put the thing back on. Because if at any point the doctor, well, let me say, the internet told me. I didn't go to the doctor.
Dr. Webb.
If I, at any point, even 7 weeks in, let it bend at all, I'd have to start all over again. Like, it would just forget that it was healing or whatever.
That sucks.
It wasn't fun. But we won the effing championship.
Yeah, we did.
So,
you can say whatever you want on here, by the way.
Fucking championship.
Yeah, there you go. Let it out. It's fine.
It was hard to pull that back.
Yeah.
We won the But we won. It was worth it. And I'm healed.
I'm glad that it's better.
Yeah.
I actually did a similar thing. See my finger, how it's all crooked?
I see that.
I didn't tape it. I was throwing football and it happened, and I was like, "Oh shit, my finger is crooked," and I didn't know. You just
dealt with it.
I didn't go to Dr. Webb.
He's a good guy. The rates are good.
Dr. Webb scared the shit out of me the other day.
He's scary. What did he hit you with?
Oh, I had like sun poisoning, and from it, I was like super dehydrated and stuff. It was causing me to have like anxiety too. So like all this at once, I thought I was having a heart attack pretty much in the Kroger parking lot.
Oh no.
So I went to the hospital, and all was actually well. I was just dehydrated.
Wow.
So yeah, but Dr. Webb,
you're downplaying that. You're downplaying that big time.
It was a lot worse than that.
It was scary.
Yeah, I was about to pass out for sure.
Wait,
like,
it was sun poisoning and dehydration.
Yeah, it was the dehydration caused by the sun poisoning.
Mm-hmm. And what if you thought you were actually having a heart attack?
Yeah, like I couldn't breathe. Like it felt like every breath that I took was like not oxygen. So that was like the anxiety aspect. And then I was like overthinking everything that was actually going on.
Which
and then
makes it way better.
Then I went to Dr. Webb. And Dr. Webb's like, if you can't breathe and it's in your heart, you have heart cancer and you're dead.
You've already died. If you're reading this, you are dead.
Yeah, terrible. So went to the doctor.
Well, I'm glad you're all right. You seem like you're kicking now.
Yeah,
When was that?
I'm good. 2 days ago.
Oh, so you got like an IV and...
I got a bunch of Pedialyte.
Really?
Shout out Pedialyte, yeah. Pedialyte is amazing.
And that was Dr. Real, so they're going to bill you.
That was Dr. Real. So yes, they will bill me, but I for peace of mind, totally worth it because I was freaking out.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
Yeah, but we're all good now, and
I'm glad to see you're still kicking.
Ready to win championships. Are you playing kickball this year?
I don't know yet. I think the team will survive without me, but I would like to. I gotta look into it. I think I got an email or something. Yeah, is it going again yet, or is it in the fall?
It's not till like late June.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I wasn't one of the star athletes on the team, but I had some
you
fun.
had
brought some spirit.
You brought the heat out there. It's fine.
Yes, it was fun. Hey, I live for a clever name, Jed Talks.
Oh yeah.
That's like my entire life. I annoy the hell out of my wife about that stuff.
So really?
I just want to say that's very, very, very well
Thank
done.
you.
I have a lawn business I'm working on right now. Yeah. I don't know anything about lawns, and I don't want to do that, but I had the idea. Fescue 911. Yeah. and the vehicles are repurposed ambulances.
Oh my gosh!
So that's if your lawn's I don't know how to fix a lawn. My own lawn. I mean, I don't really know, but yeah. I mean, we're starting at the ground floor here.
That's
awesome. You see a good name, right?
That's great.
And a phone number?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to jump on board,
you got
a lawnmower?
We'll go to Lowe's and grab some seed. And we're just gonna show up and just
spray seed around everywhere. Any time of year.
It should be good. Just when it rains, look at it and let us know if you need anything else.
I like that. Don't call us actually.
You're don't. Yeah.
Just pay the bill.
Just call 911 and maybe we'll show up.
That idea.
Cheers.
This looks too good to not take a sip of here.
It's pretty good. I like that idea.
Fescue 911.
I feel like that would do well.
Thank you.
Actually show up to the lawn with like the lights on and everything.
Yeah, screaming.
People
going through red lights.
What's going on in the neighborhood?
Is that a green
Their lawn's dying.
I will not see one more blade of grass die.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen enough brown this year. That's probably gonna go bad. You know what I mean? We're talking about yards, but
good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah, have a good one. Oh God. So I know you kind of talked about it briefly, but what actually brought you to Nashville?
It's a long story. Short story is I was writing. Should I start from the beginning? Would that be easier?
I think
the beginning-ish.
Yeah, the beginning-ish. Hit us.
My band I joined when I was 17. Boys Like Girls. Recorded a record. Went on the road. Left high school early. Did the whole thing. Had some success. Made some best friends. It was amazing. Toured around forever. Moved to LA when I was 20 maybe. I was there for 5 years. We were just there so much doing press and promo. So anytime we had time off, they'd fly us there anyway. So I'm like, why don't I'm young. Like, let's just have some fun. I'll live there and do the whole deal. So was there for about 5 years. We stopped touring. I was there for a year straight without leaving at all. And I'm like, I kind of got to get out of here. It's just like the day-to-day of living there. I think I just, like, my excitement expired a little bit on that place. But I started writing music. I was doing a little bit of pop stuff out in LA. And a buddy, my good friend Kevin Bard, pulled me into a country thing in LA. It was this country girl artist. And he's like, you want to write a country song? I'm like, I love country, but I've never done that. Wrote a few times. I love the craft. I love the lyric. I love how the whole thing works. Because pop is a little bit more of like, I don't know what people are talking about half the time. Yeah,
I get that.
And country's a little more like, it can be a little more linear. I like the rules. I like the black and white. I like the certain things you do and don't say, and angles. And it's almost like you have to paint a Picasso with 5 different crayon colors. Right. You know, like there's some certain rules to what you do, which I love. I just feel like, I don't know, my brain works better in that way. So we were living in LA and we started taking trips out to Nashville once a month, maybe for a week. We would be writing and then bring it back to LA, do all the production. I was doing the tracks and everything.
Oh, cool.
And it got to a point, maybe it was a year, maybe not even, where I'm thinking, wow, I live in LA and I pay LA rent and live that life. Yeah. And I'm flying somewhere I'd rather be to work. And it just didn't, it was a little backwards. So at one point I was like, I think I'm going to stay next time I go out there. I'm a big, like, when something feels right, I'll just do it. I don't think like, okay, what does this look like in 5 years or 10 years, which might be a bad thing at some point, but up to now in my life, that's been what's worked. So I just kind of was like, I'm going to stay.
Cool.
And I came to Nashville, I guess the end of 2014, and started writing and looked for a publishing deal, and ended up getting one after a year or so. And here I am, still writing,
still
churning out the tunes every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Did you start like your production stuff around that same time, or?
So I started quote unquote producing in the beginning of Boys Like Girls. We were in a rehearsal space and sort of writing and working through the first record. And I had an old Apple, what was it, the iBook, the old really square.
The colorful one?
No, it was right after that. It was all white, but it wasn't like, it was before they went like widescreen. And
Yeah.
I had that in GarageBand 1, the first one that I ever did. And we recorded all of the demos, all the roughs on that. And I like had zero gear and zero idea how to do it, but I just loved the process. So we did that whole thing, and I always loved it. And then when the band kind of took off, I put it kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And then I think in 2012 again, we were living at our singer Martin's place recording our third record, and we were there for a few months. We were in the studio a few days a week. We had so much free time. I just bought a laptop and Logic or whatever and started just diving back in. And after about 2 years, maybe, it got, whatever I was working on got remotely listenable. There's a lot of learning. There's way more wrong things you can do than right things with production. Yeah. So, and then when I was writing, I would just be doing the tracks, and they kind of got better and better slowly over time.
Yeah.
And a couple artists just randomly, it was never like, hey, we'd love you to do an entire record. It was kind of like I would write with certain people, and at a point they'd be like, hey, we love what you've been doing. The label loves the sound. Do you want to upgrade 2 songs to be a production? And I was like, I don't know how to, but I'll figure it out. And we did that a few times, and then that turned into records. So I never like thought when I moved here, I'm like, I'm gonna be a record producer. It kind of again one of those things that just started happening. I love it now, especially because I write pretty much every day. Cool. And as much as I love that, there is a little bit of a monotony to anything in life. So it's nice to be able to write and do a track that day to a demo and just go crazy, do whatever I want, and at the same time, maybe I have 2 months of a production project too to bounce back and forth, because it's such a different thing for my brain, so it just kind of keeps me going.
Right.
Although right now I'm like, I've been in production prison for this whole year basically. I've said yes to too many things. They're all things I love, and I'm like, I can make this work, and then 3 months later I'm like, what was I doing?
Right.
But it's all good.
You trusted your gut on too many things, and you're like, yes, this sounds great. Yes, this also sounds great.
Yeah. They want me to do it. I'm so honored. Of course I'll do it. I'm like, this is a bad idea.
Just so much. That's cool, though. That's cool. So your band, like, that you started out in, like, in my life, played a huge role. Like, I was a big fan. That was like
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah,
tell me more.
I was. I didn't realize you were a part of the band for a long time.
Yeah.
To be honest.
From the very
But yeah, dude, I was pretty heavy into it, and I looked the part, and I wanted to show you.
Stop.
This was my hair back then.
Wait.
You guys definitely had way cooler outfits on, but what I think you missed out on was some cargos going down almost to your ankles, and a Hollister shirt that your sister could wear.
So you could hold all your gear in all these pockets.
Dude,
I mean, were you full? How was...
This is like a PSP, an iPod Touch,
portable amp.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know this phase existed. How old were you here?
I think 14, and this was my scooter also.
So where was this?
This was at my parents' house.
Okay.
And I used to have, I feel bad for this, but I had, what was that app where you could download music legally back in the day?
Napster. LimeWire.
Mm-hmm. So I had a jailbroken iPod Touch, and I had some of your music on there.
Whoa.
I did.
Illegally, so you owe him money.
I did. I owe you a few bucks. Yeah.
So this looks like we had a certain demographic. You're on the OC Southern California beachy end.
But what am I doing in East Tennessee?
You're far from the beach.
I'm so far.
I love to know that existed.
Dude, I was loving your stuff.
Was this like your MySpace profile?
Oh, this is my cousin Sam. We were probably about to hit the skating rink where they also played your music.
Nice.
By the way,
that makes me happy too.
Yeah, there's some serious like couple skating going on to some of the faster stuff.
So like roller skating rink vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the dudes went to meet the chicks back in my prime.
Dude,
pretty sure I just got my braces out.
But hiding the pearly whites, I see.
Yeah, but as you can see, I got a lot of
kitty. Yeah. Cats?
Have a lot of cats.
Is that what you were saying?
Have a lot of cats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also still repping the Hollister here, just to make sure no one lost the,
You had to let them know.
Right. Growing up in East Tennessee as a hillbilly, essentially, I had to let everyone know that I aspired to live at the beach.
Do you think you were a hillbilly ever?
Not really, but I definitely did some country shit.
Like what? Like what's very country?
I had a field next to my house that my friends and I had permission to go drive in, and we turned it into a racetrack where we would race our SUVs against each other with like really loud music. And it was honestly probably like not safe at all.
Right.
Because we were going like 50, 60 through this field.
Through a field.
And like drifting sideways in SUVs that are top heavy.
Yeah.
And not even batting an eye at safety. We're just like, I got $20, let's get gas and race all night.
A lot of miracles happened when we were younger doing stupid stuff like that.
Isn't it funny? Like how these days though, like if I just have a feeling that if I went and did any of that, something would happen.
If I hit the curb on my Jeep pulling out of here later, I will flip over. And I'll get hurt.
That's just your luck.
That's what's going to happen now.
That's what comes with age. I don't know what it is. Like injuries.
It's getting older, yeah.
Yeah, what the heck? And I used to hear that and be like, it's mindset. But I think there is just like weird like age karma thing that happens.
There's something, yeah.
Yeah.
You might be paying for just all that stuff when you were younger and you got away with it for sure.
Totally. God was like, I had your back for a while, but like, you know what? Now I'm just gonna let some of this stuff happen that I wasn't letting happen.
Was it like an old, like, what was it, old Ford Explorers or?
I had, at the time, a 1991 Mitsubishi Montero.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my dad had one of those, like super boxy, right?
Yeah.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
You don't see those a lot.
They're cool now, but back then...
Not cool back then.
Dude, not cool back then. I pulled up to the movie theater one time in it, and mind you, I shot the rear windshield out of my Montero with a BB gun on accident. And I didn't replace it for a hot minute. Oh, no, mine was not that cool.
See, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. Mine was... Actually, might have been a 90. Mine's like the square.
There were way
square.
Boxier ones for sure.
Yeah.
My dad had one for a while.
This is like the Brentwood Montero.
My dad had one and it was wired wrong, so I think it was the same one you had. I used to die when I was a little kid because he would. Oh yeah.
That's what I had.
That's for you.
Mine was red though. They added some pink mirrors on this.
But I like how the photo of it is in a junkyard. That's the only one you can find.
that is the correct vehicle though. Mine was burgundy, and yeah, I didn't have AC. Shot the rear windshield out.
So the rear windshield, you shot it out, and
yeah,
that was it. You didn't safe light didn't come. And
that's exactly my car.
Wow,
that's exactly what it looked like.
See, what's crazy with like car culture and stuff, that's cool again now.
Right.
I'm a really, really big car guy.
Yeah.
And like
too.
not just really expensive cars, but like cool.
Yeah.
Like old school 90s Japanese cars that you don't see a lot are cool. That would be cool now. If you knew that back then.
Oh, I didn't know it then. I have it like
one day.
It's like branded into my brain. I remember pulling into the movie theater when I was like I was freshly 16 years old. Mm-hmm. And there was this girl who was pretty popular at the time, and she happened to be hanging around with my little group of friends who was less popular than her, which so everyone thought this was cool that she was hanging around us. And I pulled up in my Montero, and she had just got a brand new Mitsubishi Eclipse.
That was cool.
The black, it was like when they changed the body style, like the newer ones.
The rounded kind of more round ones.
Yeah, hers was like the loaded, blacked out one.
Of course it was.
Anyway, she had this cool car. I pulled up, and I don't think she saw it was me in that car, but my car was like kind of front row where we were standing. And I remember her going, "That is the ugliest car I've ever seen." And I was like, God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That hurts. That hurts me right now.
Oh, I wanted to cry, but at the same time I was like, Jesus, she doesn't know how many races I've won in the field.
If she only saw one.
If she only saw one. I had two speakers in it too, and they were in the front. The back speakers quit working.
Front's better than only back.
Right.
I'll give you that.
But
it's like having one pair of headphones.
I thought I was bumping. So it was essentially like tweeters. So it wasn't
just
even
high end.
It wasn't like, it was like high end. Imagine like getting a Motorola Razr phone and putting it in your doors and hooking it to an amp. It was like that vibe. And I would bump the Tokyo Drift.
Yes, thank you.
Need for Speed Tokyo Drift tracks in the field. Definitely helped me win.
It makes you a little faster.
It does.
When you're playing that.
It does. Makes you drive very fast. Do you know that song though? It's like, if you see me and you need me and you know you have to go. Let me to you.
Keep going. It might come back to me.
We're not going to pull it up. Keep going.
We'll get it. Let me to you. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I don't know. It's you have to listen to it. You will know it immediately once you like.
I don't know if I know that one.
I was actually going to record that song as a cover, and that was a pretty good audition.
I think that was better than the original, whatever it may be.
Honestly, maybe.
I was a big Fast and Furious guy. I did see all of them in the theater. Everyone, I think, except for.
If you say Tokyo Drift, I know why you don't know the song.
Was that the second one or the third?
I think maybe Tokyo Drift was the third.
Okay,
one.
I think that's the one I didn't see in the theater. That's the only one. I don't know if I've.
Have you seen it?
I don't know if I've even seen it.
Okay, it's the parking garage scene. That's where the song is.
Is that the one with not Paul Walker?
Yep.
And it's in Japan.
It's like the random country
the dude,
guy.
the country Paul
Lucas,
Walker.
Man, I'm gonna go to Tokyo and race cars now. Like it was like such a great.
Why?
It was like a crazy plot twist. Like
I think he was in the last one or something too. He had little.
Yeah, this guy.
Who's that guy? Lucas Black.
Yeah, it was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a random switch.
You liked him because he was a Southern guy and you thought you could be like him.
Right.
You identified with
representation.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got forced to move over into a
because it's like he had a bad
Japanese culture.
He moved in with his dad, or his dad kicked him out.
Yeah,
or
he
something?
moved in with his dad over in like Tokyo, and then became part of this racing community and stuff.
Right, and that swept award season in what was it, 2003? I think that won best screenplay. Best,
Did it really?
No, I don't.
I was gonna say there's no way, no way.
I like discussing fine films with you, though.
Right? You've seen all the Fast and Furious though?
Except for. I've seen a little bit of that one on like TNT whenever they play it.
Yeah.
But I've seen every other one, I think, in the theater.
Didn't they start giving like people like superpowers in these movies and stuff? Like
the new trailer came out, and there's a scene where Vin Diesel's on a car and another one flips over, and it appears that he catches the car and throws the car. It looks like a Hulk move. So we're yeah.
Yeah.
But it's for family though,
right?
That's what they always say.
I feel like they kind of like went downhill after Paul, R.I.P. Paul Walker,
dude,
the best.
Me and one of my good friends, we lived together at the time. We're like huge fans of that franchise.
Yeah,
and we saw 7, which was the one where he passed away during the filming, which was heartbreaking on its own, but. Then they CGI'd him, and the end of it, they had like a symbolic, like he's not going to be a part of our crew anymore. But everything they said doubled, and like he isn't alive anymore. It was really, really, really sad. And then they did a montage of him in the old movies, and then they did a driving scene of Vin Diesel and him, and they go their separate ways. And me and my buddy are sitting at the theater. It ends, credits are rolling. We're both crying our eyes out, and neither of us will look at each other. We both know it, but we're like two men to be like. Just admit what's happening. We're like, all right, you ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready. And like we got up, like, didn't look at each other, walked to the car, just bawling, like drove home, didn't look at each other, didn't talk about it. Now we talk about it. We're like, what were we doing?
So much pride.
Yeah, I'm not crying. Like, dude, like waterworks.
Didn't even leave the parking lot fast.
Like,
that was the one movie that you didn't leave every other one.
Slow.
You leave, you're like, fucking.
I'll never forget that. Yeah. Everyone burning out, leaving.
Yeah, right.
That one, everyone was crying, driving slow.
It's just like, God, that was terrible. Is that the one where they did like the CGI with him?
That was, So I think they had like his brother, and then they put his face over him in some scenes.
Right.
I couldn't even really tell until someone pointed it out. They did good with it.
Yeah.
Whew, that one. Girls have the Notebook.
Yeah.
Dudes have Fast 7.
That is so true. That is so true.
That's real.
Yeah, that was so sad. What a crazy incident.
That might have been the saddest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never felt more emotion than Fast 7.
Sometimes I go back just to tap in and watch it. Just the end.
Just
again,
to remember.
Just to feel something.
Just to feel a tear.
Just to feel something.
Give me one tear.
It's been a long time.
Paul. Man, yeah, that's crazy though. He was driving like a Carrera GT.
It was exactly that, which is a scary car in general.
Yeah, they sound amazing.
That was like when cars got so fast with technology, but the safety features hadn't quite caught up. It was the early 2000s, I think, was when that was, and that was just like an absurdly fast car, but like it didn't have traction control or any of that stuff.
No,
at least a proper version of it.
Right.
Scary.
Bummer. Those cars they sound amazing though.
Unreal.
The Carrera GT.
Unreal. Too fast now. We're getting old. I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of fast. I used to ride motorcycles.
Really?
I did like track days out in LA and just ripped it and didn't care.
Way.
And
like
now,
crotch rockets?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Well, I think I had a Ducati. So it was still a sport bike, but it was not like a straight up like super like Japanese, like with all the colors and stuff. It was kind of classy and cool, Italian, and it had like a V-twin engine in it, so it sounds like a Harley, but it revs really high, super fast. And I rode that thing everywhere in LA. Yeah. You know how you can drive between.
I was gonna say, were you one of those asshole guys that was blasting up through traffic at like 90? So with like this much room in between the cars.
Here's the reality. Yes. Longer answer. It's legal there, and apparently there's like stats that show that it's actually safer. If you're driving on the highway and there's a car in front of you and behind you and you're in the middle, the chance of you hitting it or getting rear-ended are way higher. If you stay, so you have 4 options if you're in the middle of the lanes. You have more places to go if anything happens. Okay. Also, those can stop and start on a dime. So I always felt very safe. And if the traffic stopped and you go 90 through the lanes, you deserve something bad to happen. But like if you just are, you can go 10 or 20 between, just be careful. But living in LA, it just made everything so fast, so easy.
Totally.
Because
I'm sure
you can get anywhere at as fast as you want to get.
Right.
And you can park on the street between cars for free. Any parking garage legally, you can drive around the barrier
for
thing.
free.
Yeah. It's
no way.
It's I don't know if it's like an unspoken thing or it's whatever, but I would drive around the thing and park in any kind of painted off area.
That's awesome.
I would drive from my place with a backpack on to the airport and go to just the front spot in the garage for free.
Yeah.
Take my helmet off, walk in, fly somewhere, fly back for a week. It was just like
that's
as opposed to
even at the airport.
Yeah, the airport, and that would take 15 minutes from my house. If I got picked up by a car and driven there, it would be 2 hours easy.
Yeah. See, that makes like so much sense.
But now I'm like, I miss it because I love that kind of stuff. But when I see one, I'm still kind of like, I'm a little scared of that.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it's honestly almost more safe to ride there than Nashville.
It definitely is because the laws are better for it, and also people are like they know what's happening.
Right.
Here, it's like I see
lanes. They know that there's possibly going to be like the motorcycles splitting them.
Right.
Going pretty fast.
Right.
And
there were still idiots there, but if you put
totally.
if you saw a car cut, like those things are, you hit the brakes, you stopped instantly.
Really?
As long as you're paying attention. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did that, and I rode mainly. I had it to ride like out in Malibu. All the canyon roads were like literally just like partial racetracks.
Yeah.
So me and a big crew would go out and just rip it. There'd be no car.
There's
no point to be on those roads in a car because they're so dangerous. They don't really take you anywhere.
You talking about like the canyon roads, like
all the canyon,
yeah, those are cool.
So I would rip. There were a few specific ones like off of the main kind of canyon ones, off of PCH and Las Virgenes or whatever is one of the exits that you take to get there. I forget. I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to say that, but it was cool. And then I did like track days on the racetrack, so we'd go out there and they would be like A, B, and C groups. A was the super experienced, crazy fast. B was pretty good, and C was like, what is a motorcycle kind of. So I would ride in B because it was like, no one's gonna like overtake you or do anything crazy.
Right.
But you could just go out there. I think it was 30 minutes a session and just rip it.
That's
and they had your lap times, they had your whole deal. So it was just like
that's cool.
On those front straight. I mean, I felt safer there than driving 30 on a main road.
Yeah.
But like on the front straight of that road, on that track we'd be on, I would hit like 140, 150, just head down.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
What's the fastest you ever went on a bike?
The speedometer gets really inaccurate the higher you go on those. But probably 140, 150-ish is
that's so fast.
And everything's just kind of shaking.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting. It does feel pretty secure.
Yeah.
Like, because they are built to do that.
Yeah.
It's almost like more unnatural for those things to be putting. It's like driving a Lamborghini 20 miles an hour. It's not what it is supposed to do. But if you take that thing to Germany on the Autobahn and go 200, it's like rock solid.
You can feel what it's like meant for.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. That was fun.
That's cool. So you haven't had a bike in Nashville?
I just feel like there's no car culture or bike culture, any of that stuff here. No one really cares. Everyone just kind of has trucks.
There's a cool cars and coffee thing that goes on in Franklin. You ever been to that?
I've been a couple times.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that I have a car now that is like sort of from my old life out there, and I just still have it, and I don't really drive it that much.
What is it?
It's an older M3.
Cool.
The V8 one, like
nice.
It's cool. And I don't really drive it that much. I actually took it when my father-in-law was in town. Me and him and my wife went down to Cars and Coffee because I'm like, this is going to be, let's go and have fun and get some coffee and walk around and look at cool stuff. But also, like, I'm going to go here and see if I feel anything. Like, see these cars, bring mine. Like, do I still have that at all in me? And I brought it, and I was like, not really.
Really?
Yeah.
No, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's just like, I think it's getting older, plus, like, that was it.
Oh.
There's my girl right there.
Dude, that's sick.
So this was, you'll notice, it was, at a time, it was all white. That's aftermarket, and that's aftermarket because on this very road here, a few months before, I crashed her.
No way.
And ruined the tail and the front end and everything. But it's like, as long as there's no other cars, generally speaking, you're gonna slide and pick it up and ride home. And that's what I did.
Dude, that thing is sick. Man, it's crazy. Only 353 weeks ago you had that.
Feels like just last week.
Dude, I love it though.
Yeah. That was fun.
What year is your M3?
2011.
Oh, nice. I thought you were talking about like the more square body, like the older, like 2003,
I love those,
2004.
Dude,
those are cool.
Those are like $150,000 now to find a clean.
Really?
They're so pricey.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's cool. You're a car guy. We'll have to talk more about that because I'm a huge car
We've lost
person.
all our listeners already.
Yeah. they're gonna be like, what are we talking about? I don't care. It's my podcast though, so it's like,
that's right. Who cares?
If they don't want to talk about cars, then they don't have to hang out.
That's right. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah, I've always wanted a Nissan GTR. That's like that's where I like, and it's like a reasonable,
dude,
cool car to get.
Katie, are you listening?
Katie.
I tell her all the time, and she doesn't care at all about cars, but she's like, that's the one that you want, right? That's the one you love. Nissan GTR has always been since that one came out. It's like sort of attainable, but crazy fast.
Dude, I know. They're sick. That makes me so happy.
You want to split one?
Yeah, you want to get one?
Let's go.
We could just put it on Turo when we're not using it.
Yes, I would do that.
I rode in one once though that had 770 horsepower. It was obviously not stock,
right?
And I will never forget it because like we were going like 20 miles per hour. He's like, "Are you ready?" And this guy's like a professional drag racer. He like races for like a living. Yeah. And he normally races Corvettes, so the GTR is easy for him to drive because it's all-wheel drive or whatever. Right. Anyway, he floors this thing, and I literally thought that I was going to fly out the back window of this car. It was like that much torque. I was like leaving the seat. I'm like back here like, ah. But, dude.
That's a lot of power.
So much power.
Yeah.
And I want one. So Ellen and Katie, we're going to get some GTRs.
Lucky girls are going to be able to ride in them.
Yeah, totally.
Matching GTRs.
Totally.
They're not that expensive anymore.
I know. You can get it for like high 40s.
Although I think the tires are very expensive and you got to replace them a lot.
I'm sure, especially once you get one.
Figure that out later.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Drive it on the rims.
Yeah, exactly.
Spark it up.
Yeah.
So what was, back in your band days, what was your favorite song that you guys played out? If you didn't have a favorite, it's okay, but I feel like everyone kind of has like.
I would say, just to be a simple man, just the hit. I mean, the hits, The Great Escape was anything that made the crowd go crazy. There were some that were technically fun because I had like cool guitar solos or something. Right. But no one cares about that, you know. I care about that. Three people in the crowd are like, "Oh, that's a pentatonic scale." But like, but whatever gets people going crazy. Yeah. Great Escape, Love Drunk, 2 is better than 1.
Oh yeah,
there was a point in our career where me and Martin, our singer, we would always do the radio shows and radio tours and all that stuff, just me and him, and just see a lot of crazy stuff. And dude, we had our little like emo adjacent, pop punk adjacent sort of genre that we were in. We were a little more radio. Like people like to look back at us and be like, "Oh, you were in a pop punk band." We were kind of just like a radio rock band that had one foot in that world, I think. So we toured in that world for the most part, but then you'd go for holiday shows or for radio shows, and you'd just be like, "Hey, you're going on between Lady Gaga and Flo Rida and like this other just random," and we're like, "Why are we here? What is happening?"
Yeah,
but it was those were always amazing. And what was the guy's name that did the helicopter song, like spin it around?
Flo Rida.
Was it him?
Right.
Okay. No. Wait.
Right.
No. Hold on. Different.
Florida. It was that Florida guy.
Oh, Florida.
Florida.
No, you're right. That's him. But this song was Sugar Sugar. What was that guy? Baby Bash.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Is that it?
I think Helicopter was Petey Pablo, wasn't it?
I hope so. That sounds awesome.
Please be.
Maybe it was Baby Bash. But whatever it was, he played his hit, which I'm blanking on now. And then, so he was on before. So he played the hit to open the show with all the guys jumping around.
Sugar Sugar was Baby Bash.
Okay. And what was his other hit? Or other hits? There was one other one that wasn't quite like that one.
Struggling. It's weird. There's not a ton of info on Baby Bash.
Baby Bash. We need more.
Should we be asking more questions about Baby Bash?
I think we should.
Does the world need to crack that egg open a little bit?
What happened to Baby Bash?
So he opened up with whatever up-tempo hit thing, and all the guys jumped around. The DJs were going crazy. And then he played Sugar Sugar, and then he played the hit again. So he played 3 songs, but 2 of them were the same song.
Okay.
And we were like, at first, we're like, what is this guy doing? And then we saw the crowd the second time they went twice as crazy. They don't care. They don't care.
Cyclone.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, 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 that one.
Yeah.
Big hit. Yeah. Very different than Sugar Sugar.
Yes.
So he played that. Everyone went crazy. And then he played Sugar Sugar. And then he played Cyclone again. And yeah, like we were like, what is he doing? But the crowd went absurd. So I think not long after that, we opened the show with The Great Escape. And then in the middle, we did a medley. Martin would play an acoustic guitar, and he would throw The Great Escape into that.
Oh, cool.
And then at the end, we'd close the show with The Great Escape.
So 3 times, pretty much?
Technically 3 times.
That's awesome.
No one ever said, why did you do that more than once?
Dude, yeah, because they're there to hear you guys
said that.
Crush those songs. Yeah.
I think we get like a certain artist like preciousness with stuff that like we don't want to overdo things. But like people are fans of you and your music and all your work, but like they still want to hear the hits, so give it to them a couple times. And I mean, it's not like we only had one hit. We had a handful. We played them all, but that second time we played The Great Escape was just like they were like, what is happening?
They go like nuts,
crazy.
That's awesome.
So I think my favorite song to play live was The Great Escape V2.
Nice. That's cool.
the second time. The first time was pretty good. It was good. Don't get me wrong.
I can see that.
That's an awesome answer.
You got to think about that as like someone being in the crowd watching like your favorite artist, someone that you love and you know every breath to the song.
Yep.
And they do your song and you're so amped they've already played it, but then they come back with it again. Like I can see how that would be like. Because
it slaps when you open the show with your hit. It's like, wow, where is this going to go? And then, it's an 1.5-hour set, so they're kind of like, I want, they already kind of forgot about it. Yeah. And then they get it again. It's just
epic.
I recommend it. It works.
What was that? I feel like shows in that era and that genre were a lot different than a lot of the things that are current. What was that like?
See, I don't have a great grasp on even what it's like now.
Mm-hmm.
All I can compare it to, what I know the best, is like the country world of touring.
Mm-hmm.
So country tours, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you leave Wednesday night and then come home Sunday.
Right.
Which is, I never knew existed. It's absolutely incredible. We would be gone there were times we were gone for like a year.
Really?
In the beginning, we were in a van. So I remember our first time ever, we drove from Boston to our first show in Tucson, Arizona, I think. And then we were on that tour for 3 months. And then we met up with another tour and we're at Chicago or whatever. Yeah. But we would just be gone. It was a show every single night. Once in a while, we'd have a day off. So that's a big difference. Also, like with our genre, it was sort of more Wild West, where we had like our manager and our label, and it was just like we had a radio team working the song, which they waited a while before they did that to get like sort of a grassroots following. Yeah. But we just went out there, and I mean, we were playing. I was 17, 18 at the time, so I didn't care or know the difference.
That's so crazy.
We used to call them more bands than fans tour, where you had like the touring party would be like 42 people, and the crowd would be like 21. And it's like, what are we doing? Looking back, it's like, what were we doing? But we did so many of those, and it was just to build a following and wait for it to take off online, and then we'd go to radio later. But it was just in country. I just feel like it's kind of cool. You sign your deal and then you get like your management and your publicist and you do the radio tour, you do the circuit, and it's such a built-in thing you get dropped into and prove yourself, and it's just more of like this is the path to get there.
Yeah.
Whereas like for us it was like anything we would do we do MySpace campaigns, we do whatever made sense.
Yeah, you were hustling on your own, but you're talking about also like you guys were figuring it out on your own. This isn't like you had a label dropping you into a loop. You guys were trying to build this.
Right. Well, we had we had a deal sort of from the beginning, but it was very like, I don't know if I would say it was actually like a development thing or if it was just like, I mean, we didn't have any like tour support or any of that stuff. And also, interestingly enough, back then in that world, being on a major label, if you remember, was not cool. If the kids in that scene found out you were on a major or had co-writers on your songs, blacklisted, not cool.
Oh, dude, I do remember the phase of hearing that people didn't write their songs, or
that was
that they weren't even a part of their song. You know what I mean? Like even if they just co-wrote it.
Because we had a couple on all of our records really that were co-written with like a couple songwriters and the producer or whatever. And I think we had to fight really hard to hide that. Where it's like it's not That's really crazy. Like a big. Like, who cares? Get the best possible song you can like it's like and we had to like sort of make up a fake label. We were on Columbia Records, but we made up that we were on like Red whatever. Like we just sort of made something up based on our like distribution thing.
You guys were an industry plant by a lot of people's standards,
dude.
Right?
Straight up, like if that happened now, it would seem a lot darker than it really is.
Yes,
because like all those, whatever that girl group that got in trouble and they're industry plants because they were co-writers on other songs, like. People don't understand how the music industry works if they're calling anyone an industry plant. They think we have these like multi-millionaire people that can just drop in and just write hits, or it just doesn't work like that. Yeah. But yeah, if we had been quote unquote found out back then, it could have gone a different way. But it's just so weird to think about. Like you get mad. Like we had amazing fans, and they all like stayed with. Most of them stayed with us through the whole thing. But there were some that. You find this thing and you go see it at a tiny venue a few times for a couple of years, and then they get big and they're on the radio, and like you feel like that thing that was yours is no longer yours and you have to share it. I can understand that mentality. Yeah. But that was like the majority of how people felt back in that day. So it was kind of like, it's kind of a double-edged weird, like you want the people you love to succeed, but when they do, it feels like they're turning their back on you in a weird way.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Different whole world. Country music now, like when I started really diving into country, I'm like, a lot of people don't even have a part in some of these songs, and that's beautiful. Like to be able to be like, hey, I want the best possible thing, and it has to fit me and who I am, and I can tell the story that you wrote. Like that's I think finding the best possible thing for you, whether you're a part of it or not, feels like a smart.
Totally.
At least have your mind open, even if you do end up writing your whole record. Like just Don't be like, no, I refuse to even listen to something.
Yeah.
Sean just talked about that. Sean Stemley just talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Talking about how it's like, if it's authentic to you when you hear the song and it feels right, then cut it. Go with it. Right. It becomes yours.
Right.
If it's authentic to you, though.
Right.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's some people on labels that I've seen that they'll get pitched these songs or put out a song that isn't authentic to them, and it's simply because the label's like, this is the one, trust us. Mm-hmm. And I feel like on an individual aspect, like not even talking about like, being like a huge artist, like just being like an individual human being, like you want to love what it is, even if you didn't write it.
Yep.
And I've seen people kind of have to go through that, and I don't know. I just feel like you should at least have some relatability with it. That's what Sean was saying too. If it does relate to you and you can kind of like, if it feels right to you in that way, then why not?
Yep. I think there's a fine line with that stuff. Like you guys are saying, it's kind of like, you don't want to just say, hey, send me the best uncut songs from the last year and I'll cut them all, because that won't be. That will have no brand or no direction, and you can't repeat that. Even if it is successful, how are you going to repeat that? So, like, I think finding a nice blend of being a part of some, or finding that's why so many people find their little writing crews now. Like, you look at someone's record, and it's like, oh, the same name is down the whole thing. It's like, that's not really a coincidence. It's like, once you find your team to a degree.
Why do you think that's taken so long? Why do you think it's taken so long for music to kind of get to that space? Because that, I think, makes the most sense. If you find some people that you really vibe with and you guys can put some cool stuff together consistently, like, wouldn't you want to lock in on that?
I don't know why. I wasn't here for the older generations of all that stuff, so that does make sense to me. But I think music is very cyclical with everything, with it's the way it sounds, the creation of it, everything. So I'm sure it'll come back around and be completely different next time. It's just all, I'm not sure exactly why, but I don't know.
I think one of the big things that play a role in that, and like finding like your camp of people that you write with, is like honestly knowing yourself first. And that's like the difficult part. I mean, I've been here 6 years, and I feel like within the last 2 years I've really more dialed in on the kind of artist that I want to be, and like the kind of music I want to write and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it took that long for me to know. There's some people that move here that know already, and that's awesome. But I feel like if you don't know, it's really hard to find that camp of people that you click with. You might write great songs with random people here and there, but you're not going to have like that set group until you really know.
And I feel like that's always changing too. Like once you like, for you, like I'm sure you figured out what your thing is, but like that's going to evolve. The second you figured it out, it was already changing.
Start liking other things.
And I think your whole crew moves with you, and pieces will come in and out, but But yeah, that's a very interesting thought on that. I don't know.
Just one of those.
By the way, for anybody wondering who's played one song the most times in a row at a show, Travis Scott played Birds in the Trap 14 times straight.
See, he gets it.
I wonder which time was his favorite.
Yeah. V what? Yeah.
Was this?
He was probably so messed up he didn't even know what time. It was all number one for him.
Yeah. Was that like at a show, or was that like for Guinness Records, or what was?
This looks like he was on his Bird's Eye tour on a Friday night in Oklahoma City.
What did the crowd look like at time 14?
Crazy 13-year-olds probably.
Yeah.
He's by himself sitting on the end of the stage. I'm just kidding. No.
Anyone still there?
No, but I feel like what if he did this, right? And he was like honestly just off his rocker, and seriously every time he did it was the first time he did it. Like the whole time he just like firmly believes, he's like, let's give it to him.
Yeah. They've been waiting long enough.
What if he had a set
list? Are y'all ready for this?
He has a set list on the ground and it says the same song 14 times in a row.
Or it's digital and they keep messing with him and putting that song up.
So you're making me think, because all that means is 15 is the number now.
Yeah.
That's not that crazy. 15 times 3 minutes, like what was that, 45 minutes?
It's a set.
That's attainable.
It's a set.
That gave me hope. I thought you were going to say 300 or something.
He beat Jay-Z and Kanye, who had done Watch the Throne 12 times in a row before that.
So he beat it, and then he sprinkled on one more.
Yeah,
for good measure. I like
it was in a row.
Yeah, in a row. Back to back to back to back to back.
Oh, wow.
I wonder at what point does it does it kind of hurt? Does it kind of die down a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like 2 is like, whoa, and then 3 you're like, he's doing it again. And then 4 is like, it's that. I remember
45 minutes of your favorite song.
Yeah.
People were losing it. Man.
Going back to when you first talked to your singer's name was Martin. Mm-hmm. When you and him first talked about this band, what was the initial thought? Because you never know what something's actually going to be. How did you guys kind of approach that? How did you feel about
very beginning of BLG?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a completely blank canvas and we just started talking about the idea. It was kind of like the other 2 guys in the band I had met doing like a folk project in my town I grew up in. And we finished that. I didn't hear from them. They were a little older than me, and I didn't hear from them for a while. And they called the drummer, John, still one of my best friends, called me 6 months later or so. And he was like, hey, we have this opportunity. We're doing this band. Like, we need a guitar player. And I kind of knew who Martin was just from like the local scene. He was like, you know, a cool dude. So I went in audition when I was 17, and we had a couple of the songs that Martin had already written worked up, and I sort of just learned them and played them. And I was super shy back then. And I drove. So after high school, I left at 2:30, drove a little over an hour up to Haverhill, Massachusetts, which is kind of a dump in a really dumpy practice space. Yeah. And I started just going. They were like, hey, yeah, same time tomorrow, or, you know, whatever it was. And we started doing it every day. And I remember like a month in, I was like, hey, am I in the band? they were like, yeah, you've been in the band since the beginning. So it was kind of like, it wasn't just like a, hey, what are we going to start kind of thing. I was the last piece to the puzzle. Oh. But that was still we had a couple songs, a little bit of a plan. We didn't have the band name. We had like a list of all these names, and some were terrible. They were all terrible. Even Boys Like Girls is like kind of ridiculous.
What else did you have?
Like crazy.
Hit it. Let's hear it.
We were talking about this the other day, actually. Like something, the fire of 1,000 suns or something. Like just like some like crazy like things that just didn't even look right on paper next to each other. I don't even remember all the other ones, but there was kind of like a, hey, Boys Like Girls seems to be the one that's reacting the most. Like, you know, Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace over the weekend. Think about it. And I think we just kind of stuck with that.
It just clicked.
And then we had like, do you remember purevolume.com? Was that before your time or?
I don't, what was it?
It was, I don't know. It was like music streaming. I guess it was not really social media. You could have, I think you could have accounts on it, but it was just like.
Was it like SoundCloud, but older?
Yes, that's the right way to put it. Like really old. And I think it was mostly.
It was very blog too. This is like music blogs were huge at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. AbsolutePunk.net was a big, that was a big one. So yeah, we had a song, I think it was Great Escape, that kind of blew up on there, and it was like number one for I don't even know how long on that thing. It was just like the demo of it.
Really?
And it was sort of before we wanted to solidify the band name and like the whole thing. So it was just like a photo of like a silhouette of Martin on stage. Like it wasn't even the band and it wasn't the final version at all. But that sort of took off, and we were like, all right, this is our band name and our whole deal. So
that's cool.
So yeah, then we recorded an album, and I left high school early and finished one paper that made up all my credits for the rest of the year somehow.
That's cool.
And
love when that happens.
So crazy. I remember on MySpace, I think I had like 6 months to finish this paper, and it was to do math, science, and English credits to fulfill all that for the rest of my year. And I did pretty good in school. So it didn't take a ton, but it was a 15-page paper, and I think I had 6 months to do it, and I was out on the road. Did a record, we were touring, going crazy, and I remember the week before it was due, I posted on MySpace to like, we had like some BLG fans, and it was like, hey, anyone know anything about this guy? Like, I need to finish a paper. And one of my teachers was my brother's age and sort of friends with my brother, and I forgot I was friends with her on MySpace then, yeah. And she just wrote, I'm going to pretend like I didn't see this. And I got the paper done. They gave me like a C, just like, thanks for trying or whatever. And I got to graduate, which was...
That's cool.
Yeah. And actually, like, the first time we got off tour in that whole period was graduation. So I got to walk, and I did like the beach week up in New Hampshire with all the senior beach week thing.
That's cool.
Yep.
When was like the point that you were like, we made it? Like, this is it?
When they played Great Escape 3 times in a row and no one said
yeah. It's such a weird because like,
you know what I mean though? I feel like every artist has like big artists that's done stuff like that, or band, they have like a moment that it's like you look at each other and it's like, we did it, like this is it.
Yeah. There were a few of those kind of moments, but it was never like, we were never like grinding, finally huge. It was always like, you know, we did those terrible tours and then got a little bit bigger. It was always growing. We would go from second of 4 to main support, and then, you know, we would be drawing more than the headliner while we were main support, and then we would headline a few tours, and we did a Warped Tour in 2007, and we were on a side stage. And we were pulling more kids than the main stage bands. But like the guy that ran Warped Tour, I guess, thought we needed to pay our dues or whatever and wouldn't put us on the main stage. So we were always on the side stage. The kids all had to run over to us. So like there were cool things, but everything was always moving so fast. It was so gradual. Like we were on the bus and we would like video chat into TRL back in the day. Like we had like the #1 video on TRL. So it was like us and Paramore were on there, and like we did that thing. But everything was so like one thing after the next, and then, you know, singles did well, and then we did a new record. And I think the biggest like moment that we were like, whoa, was we played Madison Square Garden, the Z100 Jingle Ball. We were the opener, but then we had our single was 2 is Better Than 1 with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And she was one of the headliners, like John Mayer and her and whoever else. So we got 3 songs. I'll never forget. It was like a turning stage because when one band was playing, they'd set up on the back for the other one. So we were all set up, and it turned and just spit us out at 25,000 or however many people.
Oh my God, dude.
And we're like, what are we doing? So we played Great Escape, I don't know, Love Drunk or whatever, and then 2 is Better Than 1. And Taylor Swift walked out on stage to sing her part, and it was like the loudest, craziest thing ever. And I remember that moment, like I'm looking like Martin and her singing together on the same mic or whatever, and I'm just like looking at her drummer, and he's like so that was like,
that's awesome.
Just in the, you know, we were on Columbia, and our radio rep was like, hey, I want you to meet someone, come back. And we met John Mayer, was on Sony too, Columbia or Epic or whatever. So he's like, hey, meet John. And we like had whiskey with John Mayer, and then
that's cool.
Watched the show and went out to a dinner with our whole label and our whole team. And I was like, okay, this is one of those things.
Dude,
that was the first, like,
that's
because there would be times where I'd look back and be like, wow, that was an amazing tour. Like, I didn't even realize it while it was happening, but that was one of the few, like,
the moments. Yeah.
Madison
we have
Square
Gardens, Taylor Swift, John Mayer, whiskey.
Crazy. Like, what else do you need? Yeah. So that was probably the biggest one, the biggest feeling. But then we had some like crazy, like, we're really big for whatever reason in like Southeast Asia, we go a lot to Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, like kind of all over. And we did like this show in Singapore a few years ago. It was in like a new outdoor venue park thing they opened up, and there were like 100,000 people there, and we headlined the thing, and it was just like, how is this? Like, it's so funny because here it's like, you know, we consistently drew, I don't even remember, 10,000 or so at one point. That was like our big number.
That's insane. Which
was cool, but then we would fly to, you know, no one really cares. Like, we're not like household names or anything here. So we'd fly to, say, the Philippines. We'd land, and there'd be security guards with like machine guns, and we'd get in the car, and they'd have 4 police cars on either corner of our car, driving, pulling everyone over, bringing us to our hotel. We're like, literally like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Security guards outside our room. So whenever I would just open the door, he would follow. He never introduced himself, said anything, but just would always, like, anytime I look, you can see the guy. Just craziness.
Wow.
Play these massive shows. There'd be kids waiting at the hotel, like, you know, in the lobby. There'd be like 100 kids being held back. Just like, and then we'd fly back to LAX, and somebody like, get your fucking bag, get out of my face. Like, It's like, oh wait, did that really happen? I'm jet lagged. Was that a dream? But it was like, that was another, just like, this is surreal. Like, we're experiencing things I never thought I'd ever be able to see.
That's so cool.
It was a fun phase.
So cool. Dang.
We had fun.
I bet.
A lot of crazy stories.
I bet. What like happened though? Like that's what the guy on the screen earlier in the cargos would like to ask you. This is coming from 14-year-old Jed Wyatt right now. Paul, what happened?
Please tell me, do you mean like
what, like
the end?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
Okay.
You guys just like chose separate paths or different paths?
A bunch of things happened. It's funny because like people sometimes pose that question and say like, why'd you guys break up, or what? There was never an end, really.
Yeah.
We're still a band, and we all live in Nashville, and we hang out all the time still.
Well, good.
And we actually, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say stuff, but like this past weekend we were at Martin's studio, like kind of listening and working on some stuff.
Cool. Well, you can let me know if you're allowed to say that later, and we can.
I don't even. Whatever. Who cares? It's fine.
Just won't
what's going to happen?
We won't
what's
ask.
What's going to happen? But so yeah, a lot of things happened. Martin came out here and was doing like a solo thing for a little while, and we ended up turning that into. When he stopped doing that, he flew back to LA and called us and was like, "Hey, I want to turn this stuff into BLG third record," which we did. And you know, I mean, it was a little bit way different than everything we'd done before, and it was a little more like country, and we sort of tried to turn it into what we were, and it just didn't totally make sense. There were really great songs in there, but I think we took a break for a while and then came back, and it was like slightly confusing material. Again, like there's some awesome songs, but just after that, everyone was also at that time gaining success in their own things they were doing. Like Martin, like, is a massive songwriter, has like massive pop hits, and he has a bunch of songs on the radio in Nashville now. He's like the best producer of all time. And I was writing stuff, and our drummer was like getting huge in the sync world. So he does like TV and film, like commercial stuff. So everyone, it's just it wasn't like, oh man, we failed. It was kind of like, oh hey, I'm sort of busy with all these things too.
Right. Just like different paths.
And we like I said, we all hang out and talk and chill all the time. So it's like we're still best buddies, which I know we toured with a ton of bands back in that day, and it was like a couple became closer than ever. And the majority, like, would never want to see that person ever again. Which totally. We lived 5 feet away from each other for 10 plus years. Yeah. Like, that can happen. So I think we're lucky in that sense. But
totally.
There's a future. I mean, everything, like I said, everything's cyclical, and it'll come back around. And I think we are, like, kind of teasing, whatever it may be. Like, I still write with, me and Martin write sometimes. And, like, we were all just working on some stuff. So whatever that may become, if that's Boys Like Girls or just whatever, I don't know. But
I just got really excited about that though. Like,
okay,
are you telling me?
No, I'm excited.
Are you telling me that there's gonna be a little more of this BLG?
There might be a little more or a lot more if the little more goes well. I think,
dude,
we'll see.
Like, you should.
So we have
you 1,000% should.
We have we were supposed to be last year, along with my honeymoon in Italy that obviously got canceled. We had Southeast Asia and Australia booked at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So we have shows, and they got moved to this year, and I think they're getting moved to next year. So like we always still have something in the future.
Yeah.
So like there's always like rumblings of why don't we just play a new song or put a new something out before that all happens, just to like, I don't know. Why
totally
not?
Should.
We're all like good at what we do, and we have fun together. So we'll see.
It's cool you guys are still like tight and stuff though, because you do hear about bands that like you said, that are living 5 feet apart from each other for so long, and you just get sick of each other. I mean, that's the natural, like everyone kind of needs space. So it's kind of a rarity that you guys have.
Yep. It was the perfect matching of personalities, I think. We're all like similar in ways, but completely different in other ways. So we got really lucky with all that. Yeah. And we're like brothers.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah.
That's awesome.
It wasn't all beautiful. We had some moments for sure, but
dude,
it's like brothers, like, you know, like you butt heads and you hate each other, but you love each other. You know?
Yeah. That's what makes, I think that the best loves are the ones that have like that in it. You have to have a little hate in there.
Or it's not real. Like it's like artificial. If you know,
yeah.
If you're like just in general life at all, like if you're being real with someone, you're gonna hit some ugly parts, and that's the stuff that makes anything stronger.
100%.
With a wife or a girlfriend or best friend or family, anything, it's got to be real.
Totally, you're right.
Yep.
Speaking of wife, how did you meet your wife?
I met my wife in LA in 2014, I guess. I'm really bad at time. She's gonna be like, no, it was 20 something. But
no GTR for you. Sorry.
Yeah. I moved to North Hollywood with a couple of friends. I moved into their apartment, and my wife Katie was friends with friends with both of them, but really close with one of the dudes. And I moved in, we were hanging, and we went to, I'm a big Boston Celtics fan, so we all got like, this is when the Clippers were even like more, they're okay now, but like when they were horrendous. So we bought, I think maybe 10 of us bought a box. It was like $20 a ticket or whatever. So we went to Celtics, Clippers, and we took a photo, and he posted it, my friend Gavi that I lived with. And Katie reached out to him. She's like, hey, who is that guy, basically? So I didn't know this had even happened.
Yeah.
In my experience, I was chilling at the house, and she showed up, and she was like, she brought a DVD of her MTV TV show, episode 1, that hadn't aired yet, that she's the star of. Okay. So she brought that. But before we watched that, she went in and sang while our friend Gavi played piano. He was the most incredible piano player ever. So they played I Can't Make You Love Me. She sang it. It's like one of my favorite songs. And she's like, unbelievable singer. And then she's like, oh, by the way, here's my TV show. And she popped that in. I'm like, who is this girl? Like, I didn't really realize she like sort of pre-planned this and was bringing the big guns out.
Oh.
But it worked. And we kind of started hanging a few times and stumbled into, again, another, like, I don't really think like, oh, okay, so I like this girl, so let's plan for, would this make sense? I'm just like, whatever feels right. And I used to go bowling like once a week, and we had a crew. Like I was like a day bowler. Like I would like go sometimes alone or meet my buddies at lunch and bowl a lot.
Cool.
And no, it's not cool.
It is. No, it is cool, dude. I'm guessing you're pretty good.
No, I was good for a little while. I'm terrible now. It all fell apart.
I'm probably the worst bowler.
Me and Jackie used to go a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should all go. I'm honestly so bad though.
See, I like the really shitty bowling alleys though, like Donaldson, and like I don't like the fancy ones.
Not like Pinewood.
Pinewood's terrible, and there's another
Isn't
one
it like fake lanes there too, or is that's that place in the Gulch? What's the other place called?
Oh, I know what you mean.
The arcade. It's not an arcade, but it's like the place with all the games.
Pins.
Yeah,
that
Pins.
is. Yeah,
it's like mini
Pins.
bowling.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
So, anyways, we were hanging out at a bowling alley, and we got to talking, and we were talking about, this is the most LA thing ever, talking about yoga. And I was like, oh, I do hot yoga. Like, let's go sometime. And we were just like made a date to go, and we ended up. I picked her up, and we went to late night. It was probably like 9 p.m. candlelit hot yoga.
Oh my god!
That's yoga and chill.
And she,
dude,
straight up. And
what a vibe.
She later I learned was like kind of freaking. He's taking me to like night yoga. I'm like, she's like, this is a really like important, crazy, like it's dark and it's like romantic setting. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I do yoga and she does yoga. We'll go do yoga. Like I just don't. And we ended up hanging out a few times and we just
dumb guy.
Like,
we'll just go
straight up dumb guy stuff. But
like candlelit yoga, can you imagine?
Midnight service,
dude. That's
so funny how dumb I am.
too?
It was hot yoga.
Hot
straight
yoga
up.
with candles, dude. Oh
was
my
there
God.
wine?
First date. No,
You guys are like doing ayahuasca in there too.
yeah.
It's like a whole like thing. What a vibe. That's pretty cool though.
So we did that.
No
and then,
wonder you guys got married, bro. That night. You got married
amazingly,
that night?
it took a few years.
that night.
Amazingly, but yeah, we kept rolling and hanging, and
That's awesome.
We actually became like started dating officially at the Tin Roof on Demumbrian.
Everything starts there.
Wow.
It all starts there, and I think a lot of things end there too.
Yeah, that too.
Wow.
But not us. No, yeah, we started officially dating there, and yeah, and then we got married in town here a couple years ago, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. You guys had your wedding here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
Man, that's awesome.
It was right at the end of 2019, so like we lucked out. We had 250 people, family, friends. It was the best day ever. Like it's one of those weddings like, you know, she planned so much of it, and her family like killed all that, and I didn't have a ton because I'm a dumb dude, like we were saying.
You are.
But like it turned out to be just like the most, like everyone we talked to, even people I don't know that well, are like still telling stories from that wedding. It was just one of those magical nights.
That's
and we got
awesome.
lucky too because it was October, so by February was COVID stuff, so we got really lucky that we got that all done then.
Oh wow! So
we didn't have to. I mean, we had to push our honeymoon because it was like in Italy exactly when shit got crazy there.
Yeah.
But we got super, super lucky.
That's awesome,
with
man.
the timing.
Would you say, like in hindsight, that if you really like visualize it, there was something extremely magical that happened in the candlelit hot yoga?
I think you could say that. Yeah.
Was there like a moment where you guys like looked at each other and like a cat dog or like a downward facing dog
Great TV show. Come
or whatever,
on.
and you like looked at each other and you're like, damn, when I get to Nashville, I'm gonna ask her to be my girlfriend at Tin Roof.
That's funny. No, see, again, I don't think about anything. It just happened.
It just
but like
happened.
we did the yoga, and I'm like, hey, she can move a little bit. All right, we're good.
I've never heard of that, but that sounds like extremely romantic. Like I
What's
feel
interesting is like even as a band, sometimes we would go, and like I went once in a while in LA
to the
like,
candle lit one?
but it's just like it's the same class, but if you go at a certain hour, there are candles there.
Okay.
I wasn't like, are we sure this is the candlelit one? Like,
is it like lights off, candles are the only light?
Mm-hmm.
See, I think that's like super cool, but I could see it being like very arousing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In your mind, it wasn't candlelit. It was just lit by candles.
I'll take you one time if we do a trip.
I would go.
We can see what happens.
I will. You don't want to see me in hot yoga. First off, have
you ever done it for real?
Yes. Ellen and I went a few weeks ago.
Okay.
My friend started teaching it at the Gold's Gym in Bellevue. And
they do hot there?
They have a hot yoga there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. He's like, it's at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, Jesus, like I don't know if I can make it.
See, that's
but
not
I went.
Romantic.
That's not.
That's early.
It's not. But it was very funny because my friend Ryan, who teaches it, he's like stacked. Like he's like a big dude. He's just not like your normal yoga teacher.
Yeah.
And for me, when you go to like hot yoga or yoga at all, it's all about like this like peaceful time, right? And the candles, I'm sure like bring that more. I know I'm joking about it, but I'm sure it is like super peaceful.
Oh yeah.
But like, imagine like this yoke dude teaching it. Ryan, love you if you see this. But like, he just like all of a sudden lets out in the middle of class. He's like, make sure your knees are straight because we don't want to fuck your knees up. And like at 5:30 a.m. yoga, like I cuss. Yeah. I admit it. I'm sorry if you hear this and you don't cuss and you get mad at me. I mean, it's me. But like at 5:30 a.m. I'm not like in the cussing spirit, especially in hot yoga when I'm already like drowning in sweat. Because, dude, there's nothing like that kind of sweat. Like no like
you
physical
sweat
activity
from your bones, I think.
Dude, you can't. Most of the time, I can't even see what's going on because of sweat, and I just look over at Ellen to see what she's doing. I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Is she killing it? I feel like she would be a great.
You know how like girls are, especially in the significant other field, where they just like get after it. Yeah, she's crushing it, and I'm over there like.
It's really hard, and I don't get it. Like girls, like so they could never go, and they're doing the sitting Indian style levitating next to you, spitting fireballs out. It's like how do they just naturally women just crush it at that?
It's because they can have babies, dude.
And like my hamstrings are like steel cables. I can't even touch my knees. I'm like, what is happening?
Bro, yeah, honestly,
I'm sweating out whiskey and like puking and
yeah, dude, it smelled like Jim Beam and freaking Natty Light in there. On my part, 5:30 a.m. Everyone else, like I left sober and everyone else left drunk.
Yeah, the girls have hummingbirds flying around their head. Like it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, women are blessed with.
It's hard,
gifts.
Dude. Like your Jack friend you're talking about, I'm sure he's like that. That's legit. That's a hard thing to do. Getting good at that stuff.
Flexibility and stuff.
It is funny, like especially candlelit, like it's kind of a joke, like whatever, but that stuff's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
No, I bet that was like a way like better experience, and no offense to Gold's Gym, but like I'm sure that like
you could bring candles, I bet.
Just
your own little
BYOC.
Yeah, just surround yourself with your own little
just bring your own candle.
The picnic
be
basket.
Hilarious. But like, what are you doing? You about to freaking like conjure a spirit in here?
It's
like,
a seance.
Yes.
What's going on? Jesus, man.
Yeah. So yoga did it, man, and we're here. We are still kicking. That was like 7 years ago.
That's awesome.
Now we're married.
Katie's great.
With a dog. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's very funny. She can talk. She
might sit in the seat and chat to you.
I think she's coming maybe next week.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Maybe. But yeah, I think I told Alex that it's going to be probably my easiest podcast on my part.
She's the best. I'm probably the toughest.
No, you're great.
Out of the two of us, she's like the like people person, the chatter, the planner, the whole deal, and I'm always just like, she's doing
she
it. Hi.
Too.
Like when people come over, I'm like, oh, welcome. There's Katie's over there. I'll just be standing here. Like,
yeah, right.
She's like, no, but she's so good. She's like a host. She's an amazing cook. She always like, you know, we have people come over and I turn around from watching TV and she's got like full charcuterie 15 feet down the whole.
Yeah, how does she do that? By the way, we had a trip together where we went to this. It was actually Alan Jackson's old house, which was really cool. But Katie made dinner or something one night, and it was like you would have thought like a full on like kitchen had worked that night with everything that she prepared.
She's a
like
beast.
By herself.
She's a beast.
And I heard people offer to help probably like 3 times, and she's like, "I got it."
She really like. It's not even like an "I got it." It's like I love. Like she thrives.
Yeah.
She loves like pleasing the crowd, and she loves just being around people and having fun is her thing, which is like such an awesome thing to be a part of.
That's a win.
It's the best.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So she will, whenever she does come here, she'll crush.
Maybe she'll cook.
She at first we were talking about like, oh, what if we did it together or something? I was like, I wouldn't even need a microphone. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't even need to say anything.
Neither of us would need one. You and I could just
Katie
sit
in a
next
chair
to
right
each
here.
other. Hey, Katie.
Just how are you? All right, I'm gone. Good for 2 hours. No, she's the best.
No, I'm excited to have her on. I'm thankful that you came on today. So thank you for devoting your time to this today. And
are we gonna take callers now, or how does this work?
Yeah, we have a few people calling in right now. We got David from Minneapolis.
David.
Hey, what happened?
Well, David, it started.
It was the candles.
One candle tipped over, and.
But yeah,
great.
Thank you for being here, man.
Dude, thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to check Paul out. I know you probably have. If you know anything about Boys Like Girls, you're gonna know that this man was a big part of it, and there's possibly more things to come.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Cool.
Thanks again, Paul.
Thanks, man.
All right.